So now we're going to learn about CSS and how do we format our code. So remember the holy trinity of creating websites, the holy trinity, the three things that you need. And I just use holy because everything's holy, right? Everything, it's all God's world. I don't want to offend anybody, right? But yeah, it's all God's world, even this. So the holy trinity of web programming is HTML for our structure, no formatting in that, CSS for our formatting, and then JavaScript for our functionality. And I just repeat this because it's important. And as I've learned from my dog, the more you roll around in something, the more it sticks. And so the HTML is the structure, CSS is the formatting, JavaScript is the functionality. So we're going to learn about CSS, and then at the end of this video, I'm going to show you something which is cool because I just can't help but to share things about computers. And yeah, it's the teacher in me. So I'm going to show you something cool. All right, so CSS. This is an overview of CSS. CSS allows us to format, so it allows us to do our formatting. And to do that, we're going to use a rule set, right? So what is a rule set? A rule set consists of a selector and a declaration block. Well, here's a selector, and then this is the declaration block. So let's look at the selector first. We're going to have a whole video talking about selectors, and then later on there'll be even more talk about selectors because we have our HTML, our structure, and now we need to use our CSS and target certain things within that HTML, and we need to say, you know what, all these paragraphs right here, these 4 paragraphs, make them look a certain way. So that's what we use selectors for. And so there are tag selectors, and this is a tag selector. We are selecting all paragraph tags, right? So every paragraph tag in our document is going to have color red applied to it. So there's a tag selector. There's something called an ID and a class, and so we have those selectors. There are attributes, and we've already learned what attributes are. So we'll be able to select things by attributes. If they have a certain attribute, we could say, okay, select anything with this attribute on the page, and then format it in this way. And we'll put together a little rule set for how we want it formatted. And then we could also select things by pseudo classes. So again, that's just a preview, and we're going to have a whole video, if not more, talking about selectors. So to format, we have a rule set right here. And the rule set has a selector and then a declaration block. Well, what's a declaration block? A declaration block is a property and a value, okay? So there's some terminology there, and that's why I have this image here, right? And this is why I broke it out. But just look at this image, maybe pause the video because I was firing a lot of information at you. Pause the video and just take this in. Okay, did you take it in? Selector. And there's different ways we could select things on our page. HTML page, we want to select different things, so we have a selector. And then we do this right here, right? We have a declaration block, and the declaration block is going to have a property, right? So there'll be some property, and then we'll give it a value. We'll say, hey, the property color, give it the value red. All right, so this is all a rule set. This is the selector. This is the declaration block, and then the declaration block has properties and values. And then the declaration, each declaration has to end with a semicolon, right? Don't that declaration, ready for the next. So that's the basics of CSS. And in the next video, I was thinking I'd do it in this video, but in the next video, I'm going to show you how do we include CSS in our code. All right. So now here's just a little bit of a bonus. If you want to watch it, cool. If not, cruise on. But you'll always be wondering if you cruise on, what was that bonus? It might have been amazing. So I've been texting back and forth with friends, a friend and my wife, trying to coordinate afternoon plans. And in a previous video, like way back, when I was doing the get ignore video, I had some text messages popping up, which, whatever, it doesn't bother me. But if I wanted that to be private while I'm recording videos, I would go into Chrome, and then I'd go into settings, and I would go into extensions, and I'd scroll down to Google Hangouts, and I'd take off that enable. So now text messages won't pop up when I'm recording videos. Just an FYI. All right, so in the next video, we're going to see how to include CSS in our web pages and make our web pages use CSS.